Hi everyone, and welcome to Let's Play on Expert of Wizardry 8. We're going to do an Ironman. Going to do a full party. This is kind of the group I normally use, just kind of having fun playing everything through. There's a couple things in here that are probably a little different from what you normally see. Primarily, you don't often hear that it's a good idea to change classes in Wizardry 8, but I've got a couple situations where it kind of makes a lot of sense. So let's talk it through. We'll start our party here. We're going to start with a four-school bishop. It's the kind of guy that is slow to develop. We're going to buy books whenever possible. We can make this guy an elf male, since he doesn't really have too much of a stamina drain. In general, though, the whole strategy with the bishop here is we want to kind of keep wizardry high, then psionics, then divinity, then alchemy, and towards the end, alchemy will definitely be running up as we start doing a little bit more of the alchemy work with him. Some of the potion work that we'll see. We will have an alchemist in the party that will eventually become a ninja, but so the early game alchemy is going to be with the alchemist. The late game levels are going to come with the bishop, and you'll see how that all works out. We're going to take Mind Stab, just because there is not a book for Mind Stab. It's also a good way for getting your psionics up. And I'm taking Stamina, even though there is a book in the monastery. We're going to have another character that's going to be using that. So again, Bishop's going to be slow to start. That's how they work. We are going to start with Wizardry, Divinity, Psionics, Alchemy bringing up the rear. And then let's add a couple points in here to mental and just to make sure that they all work out here. So we've got some mental. Yeah, we're okay with the stamina failing as we kind of get started, but we would like that mind stab to not come back on us. So that will be our bishop stats. Let's go with we have a guy, don't we? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to use Xenoblade names here just because, well, Xenoblade is awesome and kind of a fun way to do the party. So this will, of course, be Shulk to start. He's kindly, he's loyal.
By my honor, I swear I'll protect you from danger.
Yeah, kind of a Shulk voice. All right. So of course, with Shulk, we then need Ryan. Ryan's kind of our tank fighter. So we're gonna have a fighter. He's gonna be a Dracon. We're gonna do something a little different here as well. We're gonna rather than using swords, this guy's gonna be using polearms. We'll have another fighter too that's gonna be a Mook with the giant sword. But really here the idea is just kind of have your big burly tanky fighter guy. So 1 point in senses avoids the penalty that you hit with 30, so you got to have that. Strength and dexterity are of course the mainstays here. We're actually going to give him some points of intelligence. The other stuff kind of matters, but not too much. We'll probably end up bumping a lot of those as time goes forward, but let's put 10 of those points into intelligence, and that'll help with some of the level ups of secondary skills throughout the game. So yeah, as you can see, he's starting with very poor numbers here, and that's even with the intelligence boost we've got. He's got low senses, so let's at least make intelligence count for him too. So we're going to give him, of course, close combat, and we're going to actually do a pole arm here and a bow. Okay. And like we said, this will be Ryan. And let's give him a kind of a burly voice.
'Tis wit, not strength, that make us solid.
Yeah, well, he does have an accent, which is kind of what you expect out of Ryan. All right, so that's to be the next guy. We'll need. We talked about having another caster. And this is going to be a mage that will also do some switch, some double time over as a bishop. So basically the difference between, and we'll do elf, basically the difference between mage and bishop to start. If you look, you've got 60 intelligence, 50 piety on mage, and 45 points to play with. If you start with a bishop, you get 55, 55, and you only get 30 points to play with. So by actually taking that first level as a mage, it lets us get intelligence and piety up there a lot higher, which is, of course, what you need. Take a little bit of a hit in vitality, but you can put the senses in now here, so you do meet the requirements for. Oops, not there. You meet the requirements for bishop at the next level. So 55, 55. And then it senses too. So we get what we need for the mage fast tracked, and we also have the ability to switch for the bishop. And the idea behind the bishop is you've got the mage spellbook is great early game. It kind of tapers out a little bit late game. So we're going to bring in some divinity so we can do a little bit of cross training. It will cost a little bit of extra experience, just because the bishop being an elite class will take longer. But by getting these levels early, we basically get only a difference of about 100 and some, 102, I think, thousand experience that we need for 7 levels coming up as a bishop. And again, we start as a mage just because we get all of these great stats here. If we started as a bishop, we'd basically have all the realms would be 0, and the wizardry would. We could obviously go into divinity sooner, but you just get much better stats to start starting off as a mage. And again, with the intent is to go back to being a mage too at the end. Let's see. Yeah, and this will be Fiora. And she's a pretty nice girl. Let's see what her...
Just relax. It's going to be all right.
That is all right. Okay, so we've got Fiora as our mage, who will also double as bishop for a little bit. Okay, let's do our alchemist we talked about. So the whole idea here is to eventually make this guy a fairy ninja. But we're going to start off as a Faerie Alchemist. And let's just look at what the differences are here. The requirements for ninja... Requirements for ninja, you got strength. We've got to get piety up. We've got to get vitality up. I'm sorry, not piety. You got to get strength up. You got to get vitality up, and senses. So we're going to take a little bit of that to start, but really the alchemist is not going to be a big caster. We're basically going to be developing sword and close combat and staff, so that by the time we get later in the game, when we get the Cane of Corpus in Trenton, that we'll actually be able to use it. Early game ninjas, especially fairy ninjas, are kind of slow to start, so we've got to do what we can, kind of letting this guy have some other skills, and that means he's going to be our potion mixer, as well as getting some of the functional casting stuff done in support of the other 2 casters we've got. All right, so again, strength and dexterity. Got to have that. And then we're going to take the senses now, so we get to 50. And then the only other thing we've got to really be building up over time then is vitality. So effectively the game plan is to keep maxing dexterity and pound it up. So if you look at this now, that's 23 ways. So that's basically 8 more levels until we max dexterity. We're going to be pounding strength and dexterity all the way up, and then that gives us 3 more levels that we need of vitality to be able to get to meet the ninja requirements. And what that'll let us do is it'll let us go and get portal quick as the alchemist. And then also, basically have that ready when we switch over. Because you do take the hit of 4 classes when you do finally switch to the hybrid. So we're going to lose 4 levels though. So we want to at least make sure we've got the stuff we want, like portal, already locked down by the time we get there. Okay, and so this guy is going to be fighting kind of alchemist. An alchemist can wear decent ninja, decent armor as well, and then obviously we'll have some other things we have to equip him with as we become a ninja. So spreading these out a little bit: close combat, staff and wand, and then with water and divine, we basically need to make sure that the spells we've got actually work. So have a few points in those too. And this is going to be our friend Dunban. He'll be a kick-ass ninja by the time this is all done, but again, it's kind of slow to start here. All right, and let's get him a voice.
Who can make the muddy water clear?
Yeah, a little philosophical, a little thoughtful and brooding, just like Dunban would be. All right. Next up, this one's kind of a trick here. So we said before that this fighter here is Ryan's going to be a polearm fighter. So we're going to get a polearm, and the way we're going to do it is to create a Valkyrie. There's other ways you could kind of regen the character. Lots of other things you can do. The reason we're doing it this way is because we really don't care about this character. Long term, we want this character to be a gadgeteer. And we wanted to not just be the Gadgeteer with the Omnigun, which, again, really slow to develop. Kind of actually really painfully slow to develop. Gadgeteers pay off late game. We want someone that could come out and do something. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a Gadgeteer that's kind of heavy on using the gadgets. And so right now, and you don't really get your first gadget until the monastery, so we're gonna take care of that by just having a temporary character we're gonna steal some stuff from. We'll actually probably switch class to a fighter on this too. Just again, she'll be around for like 4 or 5 levels, and then we'll drop her. So the idea here is, what do we want to do? We want to do strength and dexterity. That's what every fighter wants. What do I do wrong? Oh, I want a Rawulf, not a Felper. The idea here is we want high senses, and the reason for that is you've got a bunch of things in the monastery that you won't be able to find. I don't have a ranger. I don't have detect secrets yet. So there's a couple potions and stuff like that you're going to find a lot better if you've got higher senses. So Rawulf's a good place to start. We need a Valkyrie for a polearm. It's just kind of the right fit. And again, she won't be around too long. So close combat, sword, and we'll do some points in bow. Not that she'll really do too much there. Some bow, some range combat, just again to make it somewhat useful. Actually, that picture was okay. And this will be Sharla. Again, not a favorite character, but hey, she is temporary, so we'll make it work that way. And I don't really care about the voice on this one. She won't be around. Okay, and then lastly, we're going to have that other fighter we talked about. So this will be a Mook for the giant sword. So we have a fighter, Mook, and because that sword is so stamina heavy, she will be female. You got to. And then, yep, strength and dexterity. And we'll put the rest into stamina boosting things. So we'll go with vitality for the rest here. We'll boost piety later. That's also needed for stamina, but we'll start with strength and dexterity as the places to go here. Yep, close combat, sword, and bow. All right, so that's the party. That's the game plan. Oh, let's get a nice little picture. Hey, we'll go with that. And this is Ricky. Kind of looks a little bit like a Nopon, but kind of on steroids. And yeah, let's have a big burly, probably very masculine-y voice.
Very well. Our enemies shall feel my wrath.
Yeah, that's something. Okay, hang on. Okay, so let's get the casters up front. There will be times when they will cast first because of position. Usually when you move, that's how that works. So casters front. That's going to be our Gadgeteer, and then we'll round it out with our fighters. Okay, we're going to go Ironman Expert. Yes, I know what I'm doing. All right, and Monado. And we're gonna
Grimpack the Mook hired you as an escort for a long voyage.
we'll skip the
You
Grimpack
didn't-
story, and we'll actually make a new video right here. So I'll stop the recording, and thank you all, and we're getting ready to get started here on this beach.
Don't worry. I'll make sure we make it back safely.
All right.
We should probably gather as many supplies as possible.